If I understand correctly? If I understand correctly, we're meeting tomorrow.
If I understand correctly, the deadline is next Friday.
If I understand correctly, the budget has been approved. If I understand correctly? So what you're saying is, we need more funding.
So, what you're saying is the project is on hold.
So, what you're saying is we should delay the launch? So what you're saying is, let me make sure I've got this right. Let me make sure I've got this right. You're suggesting a new strategy?
Let me make sure I've got this right. The client wants changes.
Let me make sure I've got this right. We're expanding the team? Let me make sure I've got this right. Just to clarify, are we using the new software for this project?
Just to clarify, the meeting is at 3 p.m., right?
Just to clarify, are you leading this initiative? Just to clarify, am I right in thinking that the deadline is flexible?
Am I right in thinking that we are prioritizing this project?
Am I right in thinking that we need more market research? Am I right in thinking that correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we ahead of schedule?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the budget was fixed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the client agreed to these terms, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but to confirm, are we talking about the Q3 report?
To confirm, are we discussing the new hire?
To confirm, are we focusing on the European market? To confirm, are we talking about If I see your point right, then... If I see your point right, then we're changing the strategy.
If I see your point right, then you're suggesting a merger.
If I see your point right, then we are postponing the launch. If I see your point right, then... In other words, right? In other words, we need to cut costs, right?
In other words, you're recommending we expand, right?
In other words, the project is off schedule, right? In other words, right? Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean... Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean we need more time?
Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean the client is unhappy?
Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean the data is incorrect? Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean... That means, right? That means we're prioritizing this project, right?
That means we're not hiring at the moment, right?
That means the deadline is non-negotiable, right? That means, right? Can I get one thing clear, do you think? Can I get one thing clear? Do you think the budget is adequate?
Can I get one thing clear? Do you think we should delay the project?
Can I get one thing clear? Do you think this approach will work? Can I get one thing clear? Do you think? I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that? I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that the market is declining?
I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that we need a new supplier?
I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that we're over budget? I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that? The implication seems to be... The implication seems to be that we're losing market share.
The implication seems to be that the team is understaffed.
The implication seems to be that we're ahead of schedule. The implication seems to be...
So, to start with, we need to discuss the upcoming project launch.
If I understand correctly, we're targeting next month for the launch?
Exactly. But there are some concerns about meeting the deadline.
In other words, we're behind schedule, right?
Yes, that's what I'm implying. We need to expedite our processes.
Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean we need to work overtime?
Not necessarily overtime, but we need to prioritize efficiently.
Can I get one thing clear? Do you think we should reassign some tasks?
That's a good idea. Let's identify tasks that can be reallocated.
I'm not sure if I'm following you. Do you mean that we should delegate more?
Precisely, delegating will help us meet our deadline.
Today, we need to finalize the strategy for our new marketing campaign.
If I see your point right, then we're focusing on digital platforms.
Precisely, with an emphasis on social media engagement.
So, in other words, we're prioritizing online interaction, right?
Yes, that's the core idea. But there are budget constraints.
Sorry, I don't quite get you. Do you mean our budget is reduced?
Not reduced, but we need to allocate funds more strategically.
That means we should allocate more to high-impact areas, right?
Exactly. We need to maximize our return on investment.
Can I get one thing clear? Are you suggesting we cut spending on traditional media?
Yes, focusing more on digital channels will be more cost-effective.